So we are live. G'day everybody. Rich from PT Graduate here. I have Nicci Maree here for a chat today. Thanks for joining me, Nicci, and thanks for your time. It's been a challenge pinning you down because I know you're a busy person. So really appreciate it, and we'll try and be as efficient as possible so you can get back to it. So you're based in Whangarei. You have your own studio, which I can see there. You've got the logo going on nicely. Studio 51, brilliant. You're relatively new to the industry. You were an award winner up and coming in 2019.
Yeah.
And yeah, so it's great. Typically I've spoken to people who have been around a while, and the audience that I guess we're trying to talk to is the audience that is relatively new into the industry, those who really have a passion for it, want to make a career out of it, but may need some help, may need some support. And I guess speaking to someone like yourself, it's going to be really good to get a bit of balance there from your perspective in terms of what it was like coming in, how you got in, maybe a bit about what you did before, and how it's going now. Give us fill in the blanks.
Okay, cool. All right. So yeah, as Rich said, pretty new to the industry. So I think this must be, we're trying to work out the other day, my third year PTing, I think. Yeah. Might be a little bit more if I'm wrong, but yeah, with the COVID in the middle, you're kind of like, what happened? So I'm pretty confident third-ish year. So yeah, how to get into this? I was a policy planner before becoming a PT, so I worked at the local council here in Whangarei. Had a couple of children, we'll just fast forward a little bit, and then after my second child, who is now nearly 7, I didn't want to go back to working in a desk job anymore, and I've always been passionate my whole life about sport, nutrition, health, exercise, everything like that, so it was kind of a easy choice to do my personal training certificate. I'd been sitting there for ages, I've thought about doing it, so the not going back to work after the second child was the let's study for my personal training certificate. And I don't know if it's luck or it's just who you surround yourself with. Talking to Corinne Austin, so local PT, and working with her led me to work with JP, so John Polly, who the movement coaching side of things. So working with those two, so getting a mentor right at the start that makes you look at the body differently. So when I first started PTing, I probably would have been a typical PT that just goes, okay, you're moving your body, you're doing, squats, deadlifts, shoulder taps, press ups, that sort of thing. And then if a client arrived with a sore shoulder, you'll be like, oh, go and see the physio. Like, I don't do squats today. So having them teach me that you can actually work with the body. So if someone turns up with a sore shoulder and you actually then become the detective, the movement coach, working out why is that shoulder sore, what can we do to make that shoulder feel better, and then you might be able to train that session. Do you know what I mean? Normally, like as in I knew what to do once I had that further education. So mentor, further education is the best thing that I did because it's made me such a confident personal trainer. So as soon as I did that, having somebody to bounce ideas off has best idea ever. And then I was going to say the other thing when you're working with a body that might have pain, say if you were going, oh, let's just do squats for that shoulder we talked about. What happens if it is the hip flexion extension that's causing that shoulder pain? So you're telling them to do squats, but it's actually not making it better. So sometimes ignoring something, which what I would have done, isn't the best option at all. So now it's like, cool, if someone turns up with sore lower back, I'm like, awesome, let's get this back feeling better, and let's go from there. So having their knowledge passed on to me, and I think also put into like their circle of expertise as well. So was amazing, and that's led me to be really confident, and I get where I am today to be quite, like I say, new to the industry. But even in my first year, I'm like, I've got this. Like, I know what I'm doing. So but I think that comes from, you've got to believe that you're good as well. Not in a cocky way, but clients come to you and they want you to be confident in yourself. If you're there going, oh, shit, I don't know, we do, They're not going to go, oh, I really want to see my money with that girl. Like, she knows what she's talking about. So I think, be confident to yourself, but actually also be confident to ask questions from people as well. So it's not going, yes, I know it all. It's going, I think this, but I'm going to double check with one of my mentors and having somebody to do.
I think you've summed up everything that I was ever going to ask in this half hour in that last 5 minutes perfectly. So thanks, Nick. Thanks for your time, Nicci. No, that's awesome. So so you've got yourself set up in your own studio now. You've got PTs working for you. Can you run through some of the challenges? Because there'll be people out there that want to be solopreneurs, but there'll also be people that want to leverage time more. And that's kind of what you're doing with your trainers. How has that journey been for you in terms of getting a lease, understanding the dynamics of the strengths and weaknesses of your different trainers, how to handle the finances in terms of, do they pay a rent or do they have a commission? You know, what was that journey like for you?
So I guess I'll start off at the start with the actual journey of coming to studio. Is I actually had, so when I was doing one afternoon a week for Corinne at FitFix, and then I was also working at home. So literally set up a personal training studio at home. I honestly believe, for me, that was the best step because there was no overheads. Like, obviously you're already paying your mortgage, so you've got this home PT studio, which was the best thing because I built that up. So I was fully booked at home. And I couldn't grow any further. Like, I literally was like, how do I grow further when I can't fit any more people in? The garage wasn't big enough to do. You could do 6 people in a group, but that's if it's sunny. If it was raining, you'll be like, okay. You know what I mean? Like, they're kind of now on top of each other. It's not ideal. And so if I wanted to have someone work for me, because I had a few people just talk about the idea, I was like, there's no way I could be like, oh yeah, come work for me. Welcome to my garage. Do you know what I mean? So then it just came about that I happened to see the owner of this space at a local cafe. As you do in Whangarei, you always bump into people. And she said the previous leasee, or however it works, was leaving. And I was just like, oh yeah, okay. But, just didn't think much of it. Thought about it for a couple of days and contacted her and said, I'm thinking about taking over that space. I actually think that might be a good idea. And so, we literally went from there. We went for a coffee or lunch, whatever it was, and discussed how it was going to work. And that's how that must have been. This was November, leading into Up and Coming PT of the Year award. This is all before that. I remember being like, holy shit, I've got a lot on. And it was having to also talk to the lawyer to make sure they were happy with the lease, and then making sure that it was signed by, all that sort of thing. Right. And I had to get a signed rental agreement or lease agreement to them the morning that I was leaving for Auckland. Do you know what I mean? Like that for the Up and Coming FitX thing. I remember being like, holy God, what's going on right now? But I've made it and it's live judging, like it was that sort of thing. It was pretty crazy. So that process was pretty easy, to be honest. I remember talking to JP about it, John Polly, about doing that idea. It was quite scary, I guess, in the way that suddenly you've got this outgoing each week. So there's that stress. So hence why, if you've already got a client base, you actually feel quite safe. Do you know what I mean? But if I'm doing that first without a client base or knowing I have to build it up, I think you would be stressed and you would probably not enjoy your job. And so if people are cancelling, you'd be like, awesome, now I'm not paying rent, do you know what I mean? But now I never had that stress. I also fully believe, this is probably a total sidetrack, but if you've got having a really good late cancellation policy and that sort of thing comes into it, so then you're not ever, not annoyed, that's not the right word, you're not, I guess annoyed, not the right word though, it sounds too rough. Just you don't want to feel bad to your client, you know what I mean? Be like, oh, now you're cancelled, and I never get that feeling. So I'm like, okay, well, if they've cancelled in the 24 hours, they still have to pay, and because that means otherwise it's too hard for me to fill the spot and things like that. So
totally.
That's something that I've talked to a few people, new PTs, about, and they're quite scared to do that sort of thing. But I'm like, but it's fine. And you should, like, if you're already programmed for them, you're already prepared for them. Otherwise, same thing with my group fitness and small group classes is it's a weekly membership, so it's never here's a casual card. It's never that. It's always this is your weekly cost to attend your class that you've booked in for. That's your space, and go from there. So it just means no stress. You know what you're getting next week. You know the rent that's going out. That's definitely helped in that case. But so then Studio 51 opened January the 20th last year.
Yeah.
And obviously it was like 2 weeks or 2 months later, you're like, woo, but no, so that process, I think I was just thinking about last night. So Colin Wolf approached his wife, said to me, who works as a podiatrist at M3, the physios next door. I remember her saying, oh, my partner's a PT. And I was like jokingly like, oh, you should come with me. And she's like, do you know who he is? It's like, no idea. Looked him up, and he's one of New Zealand's strongmen. So he's really different to me. So but perfect. I meet with him. It was just making sure we've got the same beliefs. Like it's not going, oh, you're the same trainer. We don't need another one of me. We've got me. It's going, do you believe that technique matters? And he's like, 100%, like they need to have good technique before we add weight to it. Which I was like, perfect. So we ended up having a chat for ages. And he was just an awesome addition to the team because he was different to me. And I liked that. And then from there, it must have been Stefan came on board. So Stefan Ryan, who actually just works like day job just down the drive, which is awesome. And then he does one evening a week for me as well. So again, completely different trainer. He's done the movement coaching side of things, but again, his style is really different to both me and Con. So we're like, cool, another one that's different. And then Lena came on board. She rang me and said, look, I'm 20 years old, I'm out of the PT certificate and I want to work for you. And at the time I was kind of like, oh, I don't really have this, what's the right word, I guess the clients to be like, here's some clients for you, do you know what I mean? Like I've already fully booked and that's the thing, but I want to grow Colin Stefan. But then in the end, we had a meeting, we talked for ages and she was awesome. And I was like, hey, you're actually perfect. You're bringing in the younger age bracket, so she's 20. So she's bringing in that age bracket. When you start, you're like, I can bring that age group in. Then you realise, no, I actually am older and I've got children. And 20-year-olds don't want to train with me, but they'll train with Lena. Perfect. So she's amazing. Again, completely different style. So we've got 4 trainers that we complement each other so well, but we're so different. And I think that actually is what works. So I had a few people say to me even about Com, being like, why would you bring a strong man into your gym? And it's like, it's freaking awesome. His knowledge is there. He cares about people and he's the nicest person. Do you know what I mean? So, and he's different. And like I said, you don't need more of you because you may as well bring in the other people that don't want you, they want somebody else.
So quite carefully curated on your part.
Well, but kind of by accident, if that makes sense.
So it kind of came together, but the Lego fits. Yeah,
totally. And so and that awesome. And we've had Kelly, a student with like Shadow and things like that. He's been amazing. And so it's totally developed organically. And I think we've talked about it before and with other people, that my growth has been all organic. It's never been like, here's my business plan and this is what I'm doing. It's been like, oh, this will be cool to do this. Let's take this opportunity. This feels right. I've always done that. I haven't gone, in 5 years' time, I want my studio to be XYZ. It's gone, let's see what happens and trust the process. And I think that's pretty much how I got the PTs, trusting that when I meet them, nice people, care about people, and they actually know what they're talking about as well.
Brilliant.
I think and keen to learn. Keen to learn. I think any PT, once you've done the course, you need to do more, and that's just all that's the simplest way to say, keep educating yourself because there's always more to know, there's always more to learn, and you don't know everything, and you never will. So enjoy the learning process, and things change totally. What did I say about the PTs? With them, they work on instead of paying rent, like say if you were doing like, I know at big gyms or whatever, they might be like, okay, you're $200 whatever.
Mm.
But if I said that to them and they're literally new to the industry, new to getting clients, they could be making no money. Do you know what I mean? That I think was just too rough. So I went with what I had been in my, where I've come from with FitFix, is that on a contract basis. So you're literally paid a percentage of that time, the hour. So we have a booking system, so we everything's in there, and then each week they invoice me the percentage of there.
Yeah, brilliant, great,
And
excellent.
really,
That sounds like it works well.
yeah, I think it does. I feel like it means I think you get paid better, and that's why I like it, because
it grows as they grow.
Yeah, I think the more they work, the more money they get. And say if you're doing like a session that all up would have been like $180, you're getting a good portion of that, not going, oh, here's your $25 an hour. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they get a good cut of it, and I like that. It means that the harder they work, the more clients they get, the more money they get, which I like. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's what I like.
Yeah, fantastic. Good stuff. I think you, again, nicely answered a question I was already going to ask in terms of that, survivability or sustainability is that education thing. Always upskilling yourself once you've finished the course, because that will probably be the thing that helps you grow yourself personally and your business individually, wherever it is, whatever you do, and finding that education system that works for the type of business that you have.
Totally. So that's with anyone that I talk to. I'm literally like, where are you going? Like this year, what are you studying? What are you interested in? What are you missing? So like even with the guys, with Stefan and Com, they're both trained women. So I'm like, this year, I really want you guys to get the pelvic floor knowledge. Do you know what I mean? Like the core, the restore core that a lot of people call it. That's the thing. And so so that's an example of it. And then with Lena, it's like, what are you interested in? And for her, she's interested in a lot of things. I think so excited to be in the industry, but she's doing further nutrition and strength and things like that. So, and for me, I guess mine is going down the movement coaching, chronic pain, movement dysfunctions. I love working with that. Like it's so much fun. Each person that comes in, it's just, you literally are like a detective on the body, being like, why is that knee sore? Okay, what can we do? And it's really rewarding as well. So some of the clients that have said, they've come in with back pain for 13 years, and then in 6 months' time, they're like, I didn't know that. Do you know what I mean? So some might be 6 months, some might be 2 months, and I think it's also educating the client that when you're working with pain, is that it might not be one session or better. It might be 6 months' time, 2 years' time, but you've got to keep getting stronger and doing mobility work. There's homework. There's that's the thing as well. I think it's really important. And I think that's the other thing that has kind of grown in the business is if you genuinely care about your clients. So compassion, empathy, and actually the education. So the education that I get, I then pass on to them. So we've got a private Facebook group that I will be like, this is what I learned this week, or here's a recipe that I got, or here's a mobility video, here's some stretches that really help you put a sore back, here's as your shoulder's really tight, this is what you can do. And so that side of it, I think, is also helpful, because it's showing clients that you do care and you are always trying to help them. And it's that additional things that you give them.
It sounds like a really nice value add as well, so that it's not necessarily something you can charge for, or you may, but your clients are getting the session obviously that they pay for, but then there's this whole, I've seen your newsletter as well, and there's a lot of information in there, a lot of support, and that empathy and that compassion does come through loud and clear. So that's where your value goes up as a trainer, as a business owner, doesn't it? When you're adding all of those other things around the outside that people experience that go, oh, I haven't had this anywhere else.
Yes, no, I want to say 100%. It is when new people come through, and it might have been somewhere, they will honestly usually say, I haven't had this before, or we was never given this, or what you do is amazing. Like the last month email was a recipe book on protein cake breakfast, you know what I mean?
Cool.
And there's been a core one, and there's also been a goal setting one, and that's just the 3 months this year. And I can't remember what next month's one is. And then so this thing, I'm like, my brain, I'm like, going to do it soon. And it will be, so it's all those, like I say, extra value, but it's honestly, it's caring. It's, I do believe it's asking your client, how are you, and actually listening and being like, how is your husband, and using your name, how is your name? So, and you should know those things about your clients. You should care about your clients, because they're the ones that are paying you. And no, you're still not a counsellor, but that's, you're there to listen to what they say. Because if you're saying, oh, my niece, or you need to listen to that to then do something about it, rather than, okay, cool.
Absolutely. Yeah. If people don't feel heard, they're not going to stick around very long, are they? No.
Yeah. Totally.
Awesome. I like it. You're painting a really nice picture for people to understand here, in terms of A, your culture, B, the environment, but also the care and the non-technical stuff. And really, that's the stuff that makes the difference between a client, having a good experience and staying, as opposed to not. There's that age-old saying, is they don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And I know that's one of Corinne's things, and obviously you've kept that in your culture as well. But it's never there's nothing more true than that, because it's that human side of the business which is so important. Those soft skills which not everybody has, right? So having that from yourself, but also in your team as well, so they all kind of echo that same feeling, regardless of who they may be working with, is quite a powerful thing. You've got a real formula for success there, which potentially could be replicated, right?
Oh, 100%, 100% you could. And it's what I've said to so many people, is that you just have to care about your clients. And I think when you, there's not other places to roll, but if you're all about money, it's going to show. That it will show. And so, don't be wrong, you should get paid for your service. You should get paid for being a PT. But part of that payment, or them paying you, should be you caring. Do you know what I mean? And like actually making them feel welcome, making them feel part of the community. And I think that's why we do community events. Or it's all about, if we're going for like a trip up north, we might do Cape Breton, and we're talking about that at the moment. So we'll put it out on a private group and be like, who wants to join us? And we organise. So community to me, it really does matter. And you do end up with some good friends from this sort of work, and they come good friends with each other too, which is cool.
Yeah. That's awesome. I saw you did a fun run at the weekend, right?
That was crazy.
It looked a bit more than a fun run, I think.
It was so crazy. We didn't know what we got ourselves into. So 5 kilometres of hill running is what I'd pretty much call it, but with obstacles. And but there's a little bit of down. There was 2 downs. One was a water slide and one was a run. But the rest of it, you're hill. Like, it was fun. Very much. I mean, like, that was the last minute. Let's do this, and next year we'll definitely make sure that we put a big team in. But even just the group that did it together, we had so much fun.
Cool.
It was cool.
Awesome. Awesome. That's what it's about. Yeah, it's that community.
Yeah, totally.
Any questions I haven't asked? Anything on the top of your mind that's worth sharing?
No, I don't think so. I feel like covering off how important education is, and the mentor that came out straight away, because I do fully believe working with Corinne and Nicci at the start of my career was amazing. Believing in yourself, so that confidence as well. So I find that even when I've been approached by other PTs, like now at the moment I want to grow my PTs, I won't take on anyone else till they're fully booked. I've been approached by other people to come work here, but you're getting like Instagram messages to ask. You'll get it, do you know what I mean? I'm like, no, don't do that. Like, call me or pop in. Like, or a text message. Like, that's what another one's going to text message. I'm like, no, it needs to be like, have the confidence to call somebody to hop in. I know that if someone popped in, I was with the client, I wouldn't talk, but I would, say to them to give me a call, so that's fine. The confidence that you are good at what you do, and you should believe in yourself. I feel like there's a lot of people lacking confidence, even at people's skills as well. So I think that really matters, the communication side of things. Anything else? No, I think just keep asking questions. Don't think that you know it all, because you don't.
Yeah.
And yeah, and just listen to other people's opinions. So I think it's a big thing as a personal trainer that you do listen to what the physio says, the surgeon recommendations, the doctor is, yeah, it's not going, everyone's got different opinions with osteochiropractor. Well, we all have different opinions. Sometimes it's exactly the same. You're like, yes, we're exactly the same. Other times it's different, but you don't go, they don't know what they're talking about. You don't do that. You go, that's really cool that they said that, but what I'm going to do is let's try this way. So you're putting someone else down in their career, their profession. You should try and work together, be like, keep doing what they're saying, but let's add on this. And I think that really matters, and having a good communication between the physios and things like that too. So even here, I've got a good relationship with the pelvic floor physio, and she's amazing. So all my clients that need to will be go seen by her.
Yeah. She
will send me the information, and I will listen to her. It won't be like, oh, she doesn't know what she's talking about. I've seen them for a reason. But yeah, it's the same thing. Like even physios, chiropractor, osteo, you can work together, and I'll never massage therapists. Bring them all in, because more knowledge, the better. And it's not that they're wrong, it's just a different, you might have a different way of dealing with it. And it's cool.
Yeah, you're right. And it's about building those relationships, isn't it? Rather than sort of fighting them, because, you know, they're a part of the world we work in, and to strengthen those relationships and have that mutual professional respect is going to be good for business as well as those relationships. And at the end of the day, we're supporting the client, right? Because it's what they probably need at that time.
Yeah, totally. And so I think exactly that. It is building professional relationships, but it does help your business as well, because then you can get referred on as well. And I think it's just having a good name out there as well in the community, or like in a place, not a huge place, and you want to be known as a place to go train, or the place to, why don't you try her because she does something different, you know what I mean? Or got different PTs or whatever. And I think it does matter, but I haven't tried to replicate someone else. I haven't tried to be like, oh, look what they're doing. Like, for example, so you could just go, oh, that's what so-and-so is doing. I'll just be, so I'm never doing that. I'm going, what do I love? What am I passionate about? How do I bring that into the session? So there's always usually game, there's mobility work, there's strength, there's hip, there's everything that I love. And every session will be different, but it's not going, oh, look how well that place is doing, I'll replicate it, because then you're just doing something that's not authentic to you. So I think that's a good one too.
Yeah, there's no point in copying, because then it's same, isn't it? You're losing your points of difference if you do that. Yeah.
And I think that's what a lot of my clients have said to me too, is that they love that it's different. It's not always the same. Or that if they said to me, I'm making my lower back's a bit twingy today or it's a little bit sore, that I actually will do something about it and be like, not be like, oh, don't worry about it, I'll just keep pushing through. Or like I've got someone that she's come back from a really bad neck injury somewhere else, and she heard it doing kettlebell swings. So she doesn't want to do kettlebell swings. And I'm like, it's all good. So when you do class and it's kettlebell swings, I'll be like, and don't worry, you're doing glute raises. And so she knows that I will never force it. She said that one day she will.
Yeah.
Just like,
not yet.
One day we'll get you back, but it's no point, right? You can train the body many different ways. You don't have to be like, okay, step, kettlebell swing. We can get those things. We can get the hammies another way. So it's all good.
Yeah. Good. That's fantastic. Great. Well, you've just added another layer as well there at the end. Nicely. Thank you. That's awesome. I think we've covered quite a bit, and I really appreciate your time. I know you're busy. So thank you so much. Great to catch up, and catch you soon.
Yeah, fun. Awesome.
See ya.
See ya. Bye-bye.